Mr Deputy Speaker, it's with great pleasure that I also rise to support the Gold Coast Waterways Authority Bill of 2012. Its re-establishment will deliver on our government's commitment to return control back to the local community. Through its re-establishment, the Gold Coast Broadwater and nearby waterways will no longer suffer from the previous Labor government's neglect. And what a sorry saga that neglect has been over the last 15-20 years since the abolition of the old Waterways Authority. And I've seen much of this firsthand. As a former councillor with Gold Coast City Council, there have been so many issues that we've had to deal with on many occasions where nobody has really known just who they're supposed to go to when there's been a problem or an issue or some ruling needed in respect of the Broadwater. As a young child, I had the great pleasure of spending many idyllic afternoons and weekends and school holidays out sailing on the Broadwater. I can remember as a young child me and my friends having the opportunity to go swimming across the Broadwater back in the days when there weren't quite so many boats, and we've heard from some of the other speakers here this afternoon that there are now some 40,000 registered recreational craft on the Gold Coast. And so the appointment of this board could not have come soon enough to bring decent management back to our waterways, to bring a more coordinated and combined community response has been long overdue, and it is an absolute shame and a travesty the way that the former Labor government have treated the Gold Coast and the communities that love and share the Broadwater and all that it has to offer with so much contempt. And so I just want to speak for a moment about some of the challenges facing the Broadwater. We've all heard the issues now for many, many years about the neglect in respect of dredging. And there has been no consistent or coordinated or planned approach, or even a master plan or an ongoing plan or a plan to speak of in any way, shape or form in respect of dredging for the Broadwater. Can I also say that there's been very little in respect of planning. There's been all sorts of attempts over many, many years to bring a more coordinated response to the Broadwater so that all of those groups that have an interest, all of those different organisations, all those community members that want to, and businesses and industrial groups that want to use the Broadwater and share that space can actually do so in a coordinated and an appropriate manner. There have been issues around fish habitat and the management of some of our breeding areas. And there's been attempts to bring in special marine zones. But what has the previous Labor government done? Very little. Their strategy has been simply to divide and conquer. What we'll do is we'll create all sorts of entities, we'll give all sorts of different groups and individuals some sort of responsibility, we'll make sure that nobody really knows who's responsible, and then we'll let them all fight amongst themselves, and we'll just sit back with arms folded and treat the Gold Coast and treat the Broadwater with the same contempt that we've seen out of this tired old Labor government of the previous 20 years. And it's been an absolute travesty. And so we've seen one of the greatest assets of Queensland, one of the greatest assets of the Gold Coast, deteriorate and suffer through lack of a coordinated approach. And not just suffer, we've seen loss of life on the Broadwater because the approach of the previous government towards law enforcement, towards jet ski management and boating behaviours has been a kind of a, well, we'll throw it up in the air and just see which level of government and which organisation wants to take responsibility for appropriate behaviours on the Broadwater. And I remember very well when the residents of Deepwater Point came to see me as a councillor back in 2004 and said, "Councillor, can you do something about jet ski management on the Broadwater and better control of our boat ramps? Because we've got people turning up at 4 a.m. in the morning and revving their jet skis on the boat ramp and waking people up in the adjoining buildings." And so there were no management controls. And so what did Labor do? Well, they brought in a whole new set of licensing requirements for jet ski drivers, but no rules around boat ramp behaviour or etiquette. And then they said, but look, what we're going to do to police this better, we're going to make the jet ski owners put bigger numbers on the side of their jet skis so that council law enforcement officers and local law officers can read those numbers from the shore and then they'll be able to dob them in and issue some sort of an enforcement notice that actually has no real level of penalty attached to it, no real ability to go and track anyone down. But somehow, if council wants to get involved in this process instead of the police, because we don't want to put more police out there, we don't want to send the police down to manage these things, then maybe we'll get some better outcomes on the Broadwater. And then we've seen all manner of other crazy behaviours from the previous government around development controls. Well, if you're creating a development upstream in one of the catchments that feeds into the Broadwater, well, who is responsible? Is that a council planning matter? Is that a matter for DERM? Is that a matter for Broadwater management people or the fisheries people or the Department of Marine? Or is it the Department of Agriculture that's supposed to control these things? And so what we've seen for 15, 20 years now is just layer upon layer of bureaucracy, but no real proper outcomes. And then I remember last year when there was the debate about the whole issue of bag limits and whether there should be some sort of control around fishing. And then there was discussion. I think the previous government even talked about bringing in a special licence. And the idea was that they would go and collect about $13 million in fishing licence fees. Then they would waste about $8 or $9 million on that on administration. And then somehow, miraculously, by licensing that and creating more layers of red tape and more layers of green tape, we'd actually end up with more fish in the Broadwater. My colleagues and Mr Deputy Speaker, can I just say that enough's enough. I'm absolutely delighted that our government has actually had the foresight and the passion and the stomach to make some good decisions, and I believe that the appointment of a proper authority, the authority that was removed inappropriately back in 1990, the reappointment of such an authority will only benefit the Gold Coast, it will only benefit our tourism industry, it will only make the Broadwater a much safer place, it will deal in a strategic and a well thought out and an appropriate manner. It will deal with all of those issues around the management of the Broadwater, and so as we look to the future, hopefully we'll have a group of people in this authority that will have the commitment and the passion and the vision and the wisdom to make some really good decisions about the future use of our waterways. And like the member for Broadwater and the member for Coomera, whose electorates also share joint boundaries with myself, and all of us have aspects of the Broadwater that are part of our electorates. Like each of them, our constituents are telling us that they want a better approach to the way the Broadwater is managed, that they want the Broadwater protected and managed well for future generations, so that my children and my grandchildren and their kids in future generations can enjoy the kind of upbringing that I had as a young child, of being able to go out and enjoy the best that the Broadwater has to offer, but at the same time providing great opportunities for employment, great opportunities to prosper our city, and great opportunities that enhance our tourism and marine industries. Mr Deputy Speaker, I commend this bill to the House. I want to congratulate the committee on the fine work that they've done in the review and the preparation of this, and I also particularly want to wish our former Mayor Gary Baildon well as he moves forward and starts to assemble a great group of people, local people from the Gold Coast who have a passion for the future of our city, as he starts to pull them together and as they work together to create a much better future for the Broadwater.